Joining me now, my friend John Phillips of the Great John Phillips Show on KABC in Los Angeles. He's also a columnist. John, I have a question for you about the palace intrigue in general we're seeing with the Democratic Party. We'll get specific here in a minute, but you're always so good at this stuff. It seems like there's a lot of fighting now. Not that that's that abnormal, but it seems like there's a lot now. Is it because they're not popular? Is it one of those things when you're losing, everyone's pointing fingers at someone else? Is that where this fighting's coming from?
Well, they have very thin margins. And in the United States, it's not Europe where you have 9,000 different political parties. And you have people in the Democratic Party who think like Joe Manchin. And you have people in the Democratic Party who think like the Squad. And they need all of them to vote together 100% of the time for them to get anything done. And it's just not possible on most subjects. And they're learning this the hard way right now with infrastructure. But, just go across the board. All of Joe Biden's agenda will require all of those people to vote for it. And I just don't see that happening. And I think the fighting is going to get nastier and more vicious. And I personally am enjoying every single minute of it.
Me too, my friend. Me too. And look, I've got to ask. It seems like, and I don't want this to be the case, it seems like the radical, full-blown communist AOC, Cory Bush types, John, how am I supposed to take this as any other way than them being in charge? I mean, remember, Nancy Pelosi almost didn't come back for her speakership again. And it's the communists who are stopping all this stuff as much as it is Manchin and everyone else. I don't know that they're going to get anything passed. This is the future of the party, right? I mean, Nancy Pelosi's 9,000 and Cory Bush is like 40.
Yeah. And let me tell you, as zany as Nancy Pelosi is, she's the best one they got. She is a gangster through and through, and she controls those votes like no other Democrat would be capable of controlling. When she gets knocked out after the midterm elections, when she loses the speakership and she goes back to San Francisco and eats her chocolate, whoever replaces her is not going to do anywhere near the job that Nancy Pelosi was doing. If you think it's chaos now, you just wait until after the midterms.
I'll be honest with you, John. You do this a lot. I had never even thought about the anarchy that will be the Democrats in Congress without Nancy Pelosi's heavy hand out there keeping everybody in line. We're about to lose the Godfather. So, all right, hey, I want to play you this from both of our friend Jack Posobiec. Watch this.
Kamala Harris and her team are referring to him as the Titanic behind his back. I also got word that Jill Biden over the weekend was actually asking around if there's any way to remove a sitting vice president from the United States. That's how bad it is in the White House.
Okay, break this rivalry down for me. Is it just as simple as they're still mad about Harris going full race card on Biden in the debate? Is it because Dome is just naturally unpopular anyway? What is it?
Well, I think that's a huge part of it, at least for Jill Biden. I mean, she practically called the guy David Duke. How do you walk that back? And then as vice president, everything she has touched has turned to dirt. Whether it's the border, whether it's meeting with the Texas Democrats who came to Washington, D.C. and exposing everyone to COVID. She's had a horrible tenure as vice president. And let me tell you, the biggest problem, though, out of all of these things for Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and congressional Democrats is the inflation and the rise in costs across the board. It's not just big ticket items. It's all the way down to milk and things that you get at the grocery store. And they have no idea how to fix it. I mean, you look at the coast of Los Angeles, the coast of Long Beach. The only thing we can import right now from China is a virus. Everything else is out in the ocean. So until Hunter Biden can't get his crack, I guess we're going to have to just deal with this and them just flailing around like fish on the deck of a boat. But unless and until they fix that, the fighting with one another, the horrible poll numbers, all of that is going to continue, and it's going to get worse. And we got an election in Virginia coming up, an election that the Democrats thought they had in the bag. Republicans could win that. And the other thing I'd point out is keep an eye on New Jersey, too. That's a heavily Democratic state, a deep blue state, and the Republican in that race is polling within the margin of error. So that one could flip as well. If Virginia and New Jersey go against the Democrats, the midterms are going to be an absolute bloodbath. And if you think Kamala is under Joe Biden's bed with an ice pick now, just give it a little time.
Hey, thanks so much for watching the first on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.